We Need Each Other is a podcast about the importance of human interaction. It provides reminders that we are not intended to live in isolation. Human beings need each other. The things about another that pisses you off and the things that take you over the moon are all opportunities to see through another's eyes, recognize their intrinsic value, and then look more deeply within ourselves to find the love that's always there. Welcome to another episode of We Need Each Other. I'm going to have to take about 3 or 4 deep breaths to read this man's bio, so here we go. George Lee holds a bachelor's in African and African American Studies, a master's degree in both human relations and adult higher education, as well as graduate certificates in women and gender studies, along with human resources and diversity development from the University of Oklahoma. He is currently leading the nationally renowned University of Oklahoma debate team as a coordinator of policy debate, while also being a language arts public health school teacher in Oklahoma City Public School District. In addition to his other positions, he holds a professorship in the social work department at the University of Oklahoma. George was celebrated as one of the best debate minds in collegiate debate and was named in the top 20 college policy debaters of the past decade. He's been featured in the Washington Post, the Atlantic, and the New York Times. He co-hosts his own original podcast called The Chop Up. Okay, more deep breaths. Welcome, George. Do you want me to call you George? Because you have another name that I know you by, which is Conscious Lee. Do you have a preference?
Conscious Lee. You can call me
Conscious Lee. Conscious Lee. So how did you come about that? How did you come by that name?
Let's see. In college, it was when I was in college. It was about 2010, and that was when I feel like people, I guess for my generation, consciousness and wokeness became a thing, and the people around me, this was always, man, George always thinking consciously, this, that, and the other, and then it just started to be a thing.
Consciously. Lee, right? Yeah.
My last name was already Lee, so I think
right, exactly. Yeah. So it just rolls together, and that's what I know you have, and that's what I see when I see your IG posts all the time. So, how, I just read your bio, and what I didn't say is on top of that, you have a 3 and a 4-year-old. Mm-hmm. How do you manage your time? Where do you find that you get the energy to keep going? Because a lot of people could do a third of that and be exhausted. Most people, honestly.
Yeah.
Could be a third. You're like, really?
I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like that's my I feel like thing that I like at right now is time management. Mm-hmm. I think that if I was able to manage my time a little bit better, I can be a little bit more great, phenomenal, awesome. But I think right now I feel like I do a lot of the things in terms of like social media on the fly. Mm-hmm. And I think that because I like doing so much of what I like, most of my positions are things that I enjoy doing on my free time anyway. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So it's just like if I do it for free anyway, and there's these, people that's willing to, let me charge them a fee, or they're going to pay me a fee for it, you know what I mean? In terms of teaching, or in terms of, being a professor, or in terms of being a debate coach, it's like, why not?
Right.
I feel like I got all this time in my day anyway, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then after 5 o'clock, I pick up when it's time to go. I got my kids, and I usually try to sit down all other things at that time to just be a father and a husband.
That's beautiful. How long have you been married?
I've been married for 6 years in June.
Wow, you did it young, huh?
Yeah. Yes,
very good. That's beautiful. It seems like you're doing it well. Conscious Lee and I met on an episode of Turning Point with Angelica Ross. That's where we actually met. I was very aware of you because I was following you on Instagram anyway. But you made a statement then that I think that's where you made the statement, or else I read it, that you would be willing to walk away from your current job to remain in integrity with yourself.
Most definitely. Yeah, I said that. I think I said that to Ms. Ross, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's where that was. Where did you gain that level of confidence? Because again, it's not commonplace. It's unfortunately, it's a rarity.
See, I think that when I first came into what we call consciousness and woke,
Yes.
I came into it under the I feel like the theory and the perspective of knowledge of self. You feel me? Self-love, self-care, self-worth, self-awareness, all these different things. And I think that because I tried to ground myself in many different instances and having a knowledge of self, I feel like I'm going to put that first. You know what I'm saying? Before I'm willing to take any sacrifices and or cut any parts of myself off to fit into something. You know what I'm saying? I think that I have dreams, goals, aspirations outside of any institution, system, entity. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's a trade-off for me. From being a debater, I know that when I used to be kicking butt and doing debate, if I had a 6-minute speech, it was a time trade-off. You feel me? If I spent 2.5 minutes on one argument, there was 2.5 minutes I couldn't get to another argument. So I think that when it comes time to thinking about trying to build and develop and progress and build something sustainable, you talking about I got 2 kids. I want to be able to make it where I can leave something for my 2 kids. And if they decide to have kids, they have something left for their kids. You feel me? So in my mind, it's like I know that if I'm prioritizing being a worker and trying to make sure this business entity, institution is beating their bottom line and getting their mission, then they trade off what I'm trying to do. You feel me? And I just think that, hey, the game we playing right now as black people, we all commodities. That's what I think. We live in an age of hyper commodification. And if you don't understand how commodities work, that means you can be sold, you can be traded, you can be bought, you can be, you know what I'm saying, disintegrated. It don't like you really just a object, a thing. And I think that because I'm gonna be sold, I'm gonna be doing the one selling myself. And I'm not gonna just sit around and no job and them being like, hey, consciously, we seen a video, or we seen you made a comment on Instagram, or we seen you on this podcast. And we think that doesn't. Well, I'm sorry, don't align with y'all. Shit, show me why I ain't to do my little 2-week notice or 30-day notice. I'm out. But I'm not finna permute what I want to do and what I feel like if I'm right, I'm right.
So I find there's a class that I'm teaching. It's called Crowned, and it's a class that's specifically for Black people to stand in their value and disconnect from that somebody else owns you and is in charge of your life, which is kind of what you're expressing. It's very hard. It's a colonized mind. It's very hard for people to make that disconnect because they're in just such a tremendous amount of fear. What do you suggest for Black people right now? What is being asked of them right now from your perspective? What is being asked of Black people let me back up for a minute. What I see in front of us is a pivotal change. There's an opportunity, if for lack of a better word, there's something different that's in front of us right now that has never existed before. Because, people say, well, we've been here before. We haven't been here before.
I agree.
And so in this place where we are right now, what is it calling Black people to do individually or as a people? Does that make sense?
I think that I feel like that it's 2 things happening right now that I think that we got to be able to be conscious of and recognize. I think that from a societal standpoint, in terms of trying to, I feel like, put Band-Aids over the gunshot wounds of our society, I think that a lot of Black people, by our presence and by our words and by our content, is being asked to kind of give some temporary gratitude, pat on the back. America, y'all been bad, but we see y'all trying right now. We gonna let it go type. That's what I would identify, and we'll be willing to debate. That's kind of the sentiment with all of the performative activism and all the different corporations being able to sell Black people our culture as a way of saying this is down for the culture, but we got to pay for it. Like Apple selling, RBG bands. You know what I'm saying? I think that I feel like what I think that as a collective and what I know about like the Black radical tradition and the resistance tradition in our community, I think what's being asked of us is to all individually kind of have that knowledge of self, but then as a collective be able to understand the power and influence. I think that right now as a society, we're starting to recognize regardless of race, class, gender, the power and influence. Everybody's trying to be an influencer. We have all different, whether you're a multi-billion-dollar company or whether you're a mom and pop's company, you have to have some type of influence, you feel me? Or you have to reach out to influencers. So I think that as a collective, us as black people got to recognize the influence that our culture has, not only in America, but across the diaspora, you feel me? It's like hip hop music is a black product of black culture. Yes. And it's influenced black hip hop is a just like entity, you feel me? It's able to influence politics, the economy, society, commerce, all this. You feel me? And you think about, you know what I'm saying, who are the beneficiaries, the main beneficiaries of the fruits from this labor. It's not black people. So I think that, you feel me, it's a tension right here. Because one thing is trying to be able to, I feel like the world is trying to get us to prioritize temporary gratitude to be able to, you know what I'm saying, say, hey, we did something. This is our great America. I think that black people, we are wanting, and what we feel like is asked, what we're asking of the world really, or what we're asking of society is to, hey, give us something that's sustainable, that's long term. Like, really, can you give us some structural, you know what I'm saying, excuse my French, some structural shit to hold on to? Because right now we said that we want y'all to stop killing us. And then y'all said we gonna rename the master's bedroom to the main bedroom. Right. We said that we want, you know what I'm saying, economics. They said, well, how about we stop? And it was just all these kind of cosmetic, performative activist things. You feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's to me, that's the tension.
How do we step into that? Because I'm finding it when I talk to black people, it's just always, they're so connected to, well, we can't have this because of them. We can't do this because of them. It's always like this connection to them. And yes, there is a white supremacist society that we live in. It has existed from the entire time that we have been in this country. But if we keep looking at them and not looking at ourselves, we're not going to make that shift. Lost in the sauce.
That's what I call being lost in the sauce. You feel me?
Yes.
And I just feel like, Malcolm X said something dope. He said something like, the white man is doing something to you, but it's up to you to do something about it. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what he said. And I think that when it come time to what we in right now, I feel like more of us got to be more unapologetic and be able to have
unapologetically black. I just started a t-shirt line.
I feel like
unapologetically black.
But I feel like there's a prerequisite before one can be unapologetically black. You feel me? The prerequisite is being able to understand, in my opinion, the different textures of blackness and the different positionalities of blackness and black people. Because you can get caught up trying to be unapologetic, and then you'll get called, for lack of better terms, and I hate to use this term during Black History Month, because I feel like it's not the real history, but what we have kind of called into a connotative Hotep nigga. You feel me? We know that from a we know from a historical standpoint, Hotep was a more powerful, way more, put some respect on their name. You feel me? But we know in terms of 2020, 2021, when someone is called a Hotep person or a Hotep nigga, we know that what type of politics they're subscribing to, and we know that sometimes they're able to do it under the guise of being unapologetic. So before you try to be unapologetic, think about what that means and think about the different ways that black people perform their blackness and blackness, how it manifests itself, and try to make sure you ain't being no gatekeeper of blackness. And you feel me, recognizing what you're doing and how you're doing it, and really the impact.
You said gatekeeper of blackness. Talk about that.
To me, gatekeeper of blackness, when I say Hotep, to me there is a particular way of, there's a particular expectation that one is kind of put on when it's like, from a Hotep perspective. So if you don't perform your gender in a particular way, if you don't, you feel me, really, if you don't subscribe to a particular identity of blackness, you feel me? In my opinion, one of the biggest fallacies of white supremacy is to say that all black people is the same. So to me, the Hotep ideology is gatekeeping, where it thinks that in order to be black, or the right type of black, means you have to be this type of Afrocentric, means you have to be able to identify your gender this type of way, means you have to be able to concede or conform to masculinity in this type of way. It means you have to be able to praise and worship in this type of way. It means you have to always be willing to express yourself towards white people in the world in this way. And I think that when we start to have these very confined ways that we believe black people should respond to things, that's when we start buying into the same hubris of thinking of white supremacy that says that in order for black people to be legitimate, this is the only way you can be. And I think that one of the beauties of blackness is representing and recognizing the multiplicity of blackness. You feel me?
Yes.
And how
When you say all the
multiple
textures of blackness, that's
what I mean. You know what I'm saying? The ways is like, hey, man, black women, black men, black transgender people, black gender fluid people, black people that's educated, black people that got trades, black people that got PhDs, black people that's disabled. You feel me? It's like there's multiple ways in which we are positioned. Right now, we in Black History Month. You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to be a stickler, I would say that Black History Month is really just about able-bodied, straight black people. That's what we celebrate Black History Month. And not only just able-bodied, straight black people. It's the able-bodied, straight black people that white folks deem respectable and deem credible. So it's like we literally didn't deem Black History Month to being like, hey, these are the first Negroes to make white people feel comfortable.
It's a hard leap for black people, particularly black people of my generation. And, you know, they always like to sit back and go, well, you know, it's on the young people. And yeah, let the young people take it, the young people. But I feel like generations have to come together. That's my perspective. Oh, yeah. You know, the young people need to understand the history that comes from their elders. And we have to march together. We like, you know, after George Floyd, I was very clear. I'm not the protester. I was once upon a time. Yeah. That's not my role to play, but I have a role to play, and I'm going to play my role. And we can't sit back and go, well, let the young people take it. And the young people can't march for it without understanding the history of their elders.
Not only too is understanding our role as well. Like it's like the power of white supremacy, I would argue, is the power of white kinship. So the way that white people are able to establish and sustain their kinship through generations is the power of white supremacy. The way that they're able to distribute wealth, the way they're able to hold power and distribute that power over generations, and the way that they're able to sustain power throughout generations. So in 2021, we know that whether we're talking about a white baby boomer, a white Generation Zer, a white millennial, a white Generation Xer, there is ways that we can trace power terms of white supremacy throughout these generations. What this means is that from the black standpoint and black resistance, that means that black baby boomers, black Generation Zers, black Generation Xers, and black millennials have to also understand our roles in being able to be resistant to that political, social, economic, white supremacist power that is really stringed, structured throughout the generations. It's like, hey, you feel me?
Right.
Who passing the bills? It's not white millennials. It's white baby boomers.
Right.
You know
That's right.
And it's just like, hey, when it's time for me to debate who I'm talking to, I'm gonna have a better chance in many instances talking to a white person of my generation. And white people in my generation hold particular power, but they do not hold all the power in white supremacy. You feel me?
No,
and I think that us as black people got to recognize that. And in my mind, it's like Miss Francesca is going to be able to engage a white person different than me. And sometimes you got to recognize that, hey, you feel me? We finna go take over a territory. It don't make sense for all of us to go to the same space and place. We got to go surround it, and we got to, you know, some people got to go through the windows. Some people got to go through the front door. Some people got to go through the back door. Some people need to be trying to knock it down. Some people need to try to knock and smile like, hey. But we all need to be doing different things. And when I talk about different generations, they're all doing different things. There's different ways they integrate black culture. There's different ways that they embrace black culture in different generations.
Man, consciously, how do we get that message into our people? I just think our minds, in general, I'm not talking about everybody, but our minds are just really colonized. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. They're just really people who are on a spiritual path, people who I have identified as conscious, people who I really think got it together. In these days, I listen to them talk and go, huh? Like, did you really just say that? Do you understand what you said? Do you realize what you're connecting yourself to? Can you disconnect? And it's just, maybe you have an answer because I haven't found it yet. I'm trying.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I have a cut, clear answer. But from my perspective, I think that we all have to be willing to, and I'm a Southerner, open them can of worms when it comes to the more ugly, traumatic, stressful, difficult things for us to kind of get into. And I think that takes that requires us to be conscious of all the, for lack of better terms, fucked up shit that we implicated in. We have to be willing to do the work and reflect on how we're implicated in the things that we say we against, or think about how brainwashed or conditioned or colonized our minds is. We have to be willing to, first off, understand what colonialism is or understand what the problem is, and then be willing to see how we're implicated in that problem. And that's what I find is the harder work that nobody wasn't able to do. Are you willing to see yourself as the bad person? So me as a black man, if I say I stand for black women, am I willing to do the work to figure out how I get in the way of progression of black women as a black man, specifically, uniquely? And I find that most black people don't really want to do that work. Really, most people outside of race, you feel me? Most people don't want to do the work and seeing how they the bad person or the bad guy.
Yeah,
everybody want to be the good person. Everybody want to be against oppression, but they don't want to see how they implicated in oppression. Yeah, that's simply how it is. It's like the people that you think that are conscious, they probably had a certain level of consciousness. You feel me? At a certain time. I'm just 30 though. You feel me? So maybe maybe my analysis will change when I'm 40. But I think that in terms of being conscious, it's a constant action of consciousness. I wake up every day to figure out how I'm positioned and how I'm doing stuff. I feel like every day I wake up trying to figure out different ways I'm implicated in bad things and trying to learn more. And I find, especially now that I'm on social media and my platform is growing bigger, it's been a lot of other people that have hit a spurt at a certain time. And when they hit that spurt, they stop working, or they stop reading, or they stop learning, or they stop willing to have that burning fire and passion to figure out what the hell going on. They feel like they made it, or they feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like for me right now, I'm young, got a lot of energy still. And I recognize that there are older people that have been doing this work for 30, 40 years that tell me that I'm gonna respect the wisdom they impart on me. Like, all right, look, hey, young nigga, you better take advantage of that energy you got now, because you ain't gonna always have it. So that's what I'm doing right now. But I feel like it's just a constant thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like when I go do my workshops and my trainings, and I'm talking about the unconscious consciousness of racism, and I'm talking about it from this tech company or this university, I always get to the end and ask white people, like, can you be an anti-racist racist?
What does that mean?
And how
can you be an anti-racist racist? What do you mean when you say that?
How I unpackage it is by using a just position oppression by, you feel me, sexism. But just to say anti-racism is just like, hey, white person, you have to always stay implicated in your position in the world. So you can't, so just because you know about the civil rights history, just because you done read a couple Frantz Fanon books and you done read some, you know what I'm saying, black feminism books and shit, you done went to a couple of protests and you said Black Lives Matter and the police slapped you in the face too. You have to stay implicated in your position of being a white person in America and recognize that regardless of how much you have read, there are subconscious, unconscious ways in which you are still seduced by white supremacy, and there are still ways that you are privileged based off your position in, you feel me, white supremacy, regardless of what you know. So how I usually tell that to them is like, my name is Conscious Lee. You feel me? I know sexism is wrong. I know sexism is bad. I know patriarchy is bad. I know discrimination against women is real. I've read first wave feminism, second wave feminism, third wave feminism. I can tell you all about 50 million different black feminists. You feel me? But this don't mean just because I've read all this about the women's reality that if Miss Francesca told me, hey, George, shut up now, you being sexist or you being disrespectful, it wouldn't be mindful to me. Being an anti-sexist is being like, okay, I'm finna learn now how I still can push sexism even though I'm an anti-sexist. So
you're gonna take a moment to stop and listen. Yeah,
stop, but not only stop and listen, recognizing that it's not like I finished this book, I've done it. It's not an action, it's a process, and it's an ongoing, continual process. So being an anti-racist, so an anti-sexist is recognizing how you position and acknowledging that you should always be against this. And even though you should always be against this, you're recognizing that you still implicated. And there's no way, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what you gonna do about that? And what I find, and I feel like I found myself being defensive on different things that you feel me? I'm like, man, what you mean? I'm for the LGBT community. Well, consciously, man, we seen you laugh at this thing right here, and we ain't like it. I'm like, what y'all mean? I ain't know that was this, that, and the other. Like, what? That's all defensiveness, and that was me being caught up in my own little hype, being like, damn, I thought y'all know I'm down for y'all. I ain't mean nothing about that. It's like, it don't matter what you meant by it, George. Right. It don't matter what you meant by it, consciously. When you did that shit, It made this community that thought that you was rocking with them, it made them feel some type of way. You need to acknowledge that, regardless of what your motive was. You feel me? So it's not like, man, I read all this stuff about transphobia and I can tell you about heteronormativity and I make all these videos about that don't mean shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like when it's time to, is you gonna barbecue or you gonna mildew when it's time to do what it do? And just like, that's what, you feel me? And I think that's what they come down to. Black people that say they down for black progression. Even me as an educated black person, it's ways that I'm implicated in anti-blackness. You feel me? The people I'm surrounding myself by, the way I speak, the way I hop on social media, the way I engage different places. Even it's even times that my position is weaponized against other black people and it ain't nothing to do with me. But I still have to acknowledge that and do something about it. You feel me? I'm from the hood. I'm from Bryan, Texas. It's easy.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what is your upbringing? Tell me your upbringing. Go ahead and finish what you're saying. But I do want to know that.
I feel like
finish your statement.
Like being from Bryan, Texas, being from the hood of this little small town. It's a whole bunch of people I grew up with. You feel me? That, you know what I'm saying, have been caught up in different systems, you feel me? Or they, you know what I'm saying, they've been recruited for the prison industrial complex or, you know what I'm saying, they whatever. There's ways that somebody will be like, I've heard people tell me and I've seen people, you feel me, in my community be like, well, if George Lee can make it, then why can't you? And
yeah.
You need to be mindful of that good Negro, bad Negro. And sometimes, even though I call myself radical, I consider myself to be, you feel me, a radical critical thinker, a thought leader. But it's times based off of my space and place where I'm seen as being more respectable than I would like, or it's seen as being the good Negro as a way for somebody else to be seen the bad Negro. And I think that most black folks need to recognize that. Because if you keep them to the stack, being seen as a Uncle Tom or being seen as a sellout, I would say it's based off proximity. Your proximity to the bottom, your proximity to people that's really on the bottom. And I think that, in my opinion, based off of your proximity to being upward, allows for somebody that has closer proximity to being at the bottom to see what something that you're doing as being some Uncle Tom, sellout, respectability, politics, cop-out type things. And I think that I'm willing to see that.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. There's something I wanted to ask you about, because again, when we were on the turning point, there was this discussion, and I was just kind of listening to it, about male toxicity. Yeah. And you know, there was another person on, and I think she was talking, and again, it's a connection to a way of thinking that disconnect. Yes, male toxicity exists, but I'm like, but you got this conscious brother right here talking about you who's not toxic. So we can't believe that men are just toxic. What's your thought about male toxicity, and what's your thought about it?
I think that it's a real phenomenon, and to be honest with you, as a black man, it don't really bother me that much when I feel like people make sweeping analysis. You know what I'm saying? Because in my opinion, I feel like it's supposed to make me feel some type of way, and then what do I do about feeling some type of way? That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, I think that toxic masculinity has been so, I feel like that the word has been so stigmatized. I don't even like using it as an educator or as an intellectual, because I feel like most people that's hip to like white liberalism or how white people use different terms, they're going to automatically be turned off by it. So I call it plantation patriarchy. You feel me? Plantation patriarchy. Yeah, I think that a lot of us black men, we are conditioned to scribe, to identify and perform our masculinity how white men do. You feel me? And I think that a lot of us subscribe to that shit so crazily we don't know what's going on. And in my mind, it's like plantation patriarchy is black men getting tired of being beat on on a plantation by the massa, and then go into the cabin and beat the hell out of your wife or beat the hell out of who you with. You feel me? And me knowing the tradition, being a Southerner, it was, you feel me? I feel like it was a time where that was actually rationalized from black women. You know what I'm saying? It's being like, my man get beat on by the world, so it makes sense to be coming in the house and want to beat on me. You got to beat on somebody because the world beating on him. To me, that's plantation patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like most black men do subscribe to wanting to dominate and being like, the only way I can feel like I'm a man and feel like I can feel like I'm being in my manhood is by being able to dominate and being able to conquer something. And I feel like usually that's black women. You know what I'm saying? Or lesser masculine things, or in some instances things that have to, you know what I'm saying, perform a little more femininity. You know what I'm saying? So I'm being straightforward. You know what I'm saying? That domination and the rationale domination, it could be like, man, Francesca is putting off some type of femininity that makes me want to dominate it. Or, you feel me, one of my fellow companion black men's or expressing some femininity that make me want to dominate it. Or I think I'm more masculine than this nigga. I'm an alpha male. He a beta male. I'm gonna beat his ass. That is, you know what I'm saying, to me, that is like that Western understanding of masculinity that you think that is built on domination. And to me, that's plantation patriarchy. And I feel like when black women say niggas ain't shit or say black men trash or whatever, at first it used to bother me, but now it don't bother me because now it's like, what you gonna do about it? You a black man.
What you gonna do about it?
That's how I feel. Like, is you gonna be perpetuate black men ain't shit, or is you gonna try to be the person that stand out and be like, I'm a black man and I'm shit, but I ain't gonna do it words. I'm gonna do it with just, I ain't gonna get defensive about that. You say black men ain't shit, I agree. You say toxic masculinity, I agree. It's the world we live in, though. But another man to tell me I can't. What they call it, simping. That's what my generation they call it, simping. You a
simping?
Simping, like pimping. Take the P.
What does that mean? Simping. I don't know that term.
Simping, how it be thrown around and being like, well, if this a man that talks about women progression or women's worth, he's simping. He just trying to suck up the women to get in their panties. He trying to suck up the women, clout chase the women to get in women's panties. And to me, it's like a contradiction in itself. It's like, so you recognize most of the people you say are simping, they talking shit about you seeing women as being sexual objects. You so stuck in seeing women as sexual objects, you think that any time a man is doing something to them, for them, by them, it's always for a sexual exchange. You, my friend, are up in the mind.
Right. Yeah.
But simping, you can Google it right now, define simping.
Yeah, I've not heard that term. I learned something. I learned more than one thing, but I learned something here consciously. I want to ask you, this is something else going on in the world. What's your perspective on the COVID situation?
Man,
and you said your wife is a nurse.
Yeah, my wife a nurse. Capitalism is exposed.
She's all up in it, huh?
All up in it. Everybody in my family didn't call COVID except for me in my household. Both of my kids and my wife. But I ain't caught it yet. I don't know how. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm out here. I think that COVID is exposing America, honestly. I think COVID is not only exposing America, but I think it's exposing all the entire capitalist global system, the global capitalist system.
Explain.
I think that capitalism has been pushed to us as being the most greatest system that's going to always push the best products because of what? Competition. We see, though, that they don't ever tell us about how profits can drive to be unethical shit, immoral shit. So we see that, you know, based off the infrastructure of healthcare right now, we see who catching it the most, who dying the most. People that was already dying the most and catching stuff the most. So I think that it's already just it's exposing all the shortcomings of America in terms of it's claiming to be a first world country. You feel me? And seeing that, man, y'all ain't as first world as y'all claim to be. You feel me? Like, we really the worst, you know what I'm saying? Globally ranked in terms of response to this global pandemic. America ranks one of the lowest countries in terms of developed countries. So it's like, I think that America is just being exposed. And I think that the infrastructure and how we have resources and how we build policy and how we are able to disseminate those resources is being exposed. Really, it's, you see this, it's always all gatekeepers. Shit, we see who getting it first now, and it's being exposed, man. Black people, we already had a distrust for the health industry, for vaccines. Don't get me wrong. None of us worried about polio no more. None of us worried about tetanus no more. Shout out to vaccines being able to do that. But it still doesn't change the reality of black people being suspect and have a justified suspicion of these things. So all that's been exposed at one time. To me, it's not ironic, too, that George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery happened in the midst of this. Because that's how healthcare work. You feel me? Like, just because you're going through some shit from a health, world don't stop. Reality don't stop. You can be sick and dealing with atrocity. We see America had to deal with it. And we seen, because black folks, you know what I'm saying, all around the world, we go through something, you feel me, or sickness, we got cancer, but we getting put out our house. You know what I'm saying? Shit. George Floyd dealing with COVID. He got a knee on his neck. You know what I'm saying? So just because, you know what I mean, I think that's been exposed. It's just exposed everything. Politically, socially, economically, all shortcomings of capitalism in America.
And yet, though Black people have understood, I thought they understood that this was not a healthcare system that they could trust. Many of them are leaping into the fear. And it's not that COVID doesn't exist, but it's like, I have no fear of it. I don't have it. I am compliant. I do what I'm supposed to do out in the world. I am compliant. I have no fear of COVID. And you saying, well, I haven't caught COVID,
I got fear of it definitely though. But I say, well, I didn't see anybody say my wife deal with death. People die of COVID every day. People die of COVID every day. Talking about like literally, like talking about and just seeing all of the different. This person was this person was that, this person was just like, man, just like a young, old, Black, white, Native American, you feel me, 25, 65.
How is she handling that? How is she taking care of herself emotionally? How are you supporting her?
Yeah, about to say, man, I feel like try to let her know I care about her and love her and appreciate the work that she's doing and trying to make it work. Like right now, she's sleeping tired, trying to, when we get off, hurry up and might go put my kids in the car and run somewhere so she can get some quiet time in the house. But just making sure she's getting some rest, honestly. And just, you know what I'm saying, trying to have a nice little support system for her. I feel like I could do a better job. But, and you know what I'm saying, hopefully trying to convince her to take some time to go to like therapy and you know what I'm saying, get some counseling because you're around death all day. Like, yeah. I can only imagine the impact it has on your psyche and how you think about life in the world. Like you seeing death all day, and then people saying it's fake. People being like this, that, and the other. It's like, what, man? It's real. Coronavirus is exposing a lot. It's exposing the non-common ground we have when it comes to just facts, information.
Explain.
I know that even for me and you to have a debate, even if we was having a championship debate, you feel me? And we about to, you know what I'm saying, do it for like the world championship debate, you feel me? Even if we gonna have a structured disagreement, there has to be some type of common ground for us to have this disagreement, right? And I think that right now, and I hate to even be on some civility type shit, but I think that in terms of like civility almost, it's like we ain't got none no more. It's dead because we ain't got no common ground. We can't agree on the facts. And I think that once we can't agree on the facts, stasis point in a debate, we call it the stasis point. The stasis point is a fancy word for common ground. If we can't even agree what the facts is, shit, we can't even debate. You know what I'm saying? Then make it where we only can knock each other head off. It's only me or you at that point. It's either the way you see the world or the way I see the world, and ain't no common ground or compromise.
That makes sense.
Feel me? And I think that the world we live in now is exposing that. You know what I'm saying? We got certain people, like I live in Oklahoma, man. I live in the red state, Oklahoma. Every county voted for Donald Trump.
Every county?
Every county in my state voted for Donald Trump.
Wow.
Not one county, you feel me? So I'm going to pick up my kids. Shit, I'm going to go get some gas. I threw my mask on. The mask kind of falling off. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing where it's like I'm already feeling some type of way because I'm an analytical person. Shit, the woman behind the cash register got her mask on when the white people were up in that mud. The white woman is working, dropped her mask and started talking shit about masks. You feel me? When I walk in, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like I probably made it cool because my mask was kind of coming off. I'm adjusting it. And I'm trying to talk to with the mask on, trying to ask her, you know what I'm saying, why I find some juice for my daughter, for my kids. I'm trying to get some gas. The dude looked me straight in my eyes and was like, hell, I don't believe that COVID shit anyway. He said he looked me in my eyes and was like, Bill Gates made the coronavirus and then he made the vaccine, and that's what it's about. And in my mind, it's like, shit, if you can reduce it to being that simple, and you can justify it as being like, so fuck the coronavirus. That's just for money. It's like, ooh, boy. And I just think that like that's an instance. It's like again, it's Oklahoma. You know what I'm saying? The same place where my wife is a nurse. You know what I'm saying? In a nursing ICU. You feel me? Like that mean you about to, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, what? We can't agree on nothing. What? I tell somebody when I go back to Texas, that's where I'm born and raised at. Like, yeah, man, people dying. You know what I'm saying? My wife see death all the time. What they dying though from? Is it from the coronavirus or coronavirus like cause? They had something already else. It's just like there's already a narrative being constructed. And actually, there's multiple narratives being constructed.
Yes, there are. Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, shit, what? Once you politicize and global pandemics, man, we ain't got time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the world we live in.
What do we do?
For like first figure out what's going on and then do something about it. Really, like really mine. Like a quote I live by is a Huey P. Newton quote about power. He said that power is the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. Power is the ability to define the phenomenon and make it act in a desired manner. So what we do about anything is try to have power within it, over it, through it, in it, whatever. And every time it's going to go to defining the phenomenon, figuring out how it works, figuring out how it functions, understanding the history behind it at least a little bit, and then seeing how you can, now that you have this knowledge, you've defined the phenomenon, how do you make it act in a desired manner? Do you go through it? Do you go under it? Do you go around it? Do you ignore it? You feel me? That's what we do about it. That's what I think. That's what I do.
I love it.
Define the phenomenon, make it act in a desired manner. Whether we're talking about a sickness, a disease, a poverty, I don't give a damn what it is. Black History Month, define the phenomenon, make it act in a desired manner, man. That's my thing in life.
Are we going to be in a new position Black History Month next year? Are things going to be different?
It's up to us. I think so a little bit, though. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say, yeah. I feel like in 2020, I ain't had as much influence in Black History Month. 2021, I got a little bit more influence in Black History Month. In 2022, I'm going to have probably even more influence into Black History Month. And as long as I got something to do about it and people listening to me and I'm able to amplify my voice, shit, it's going to be different. I don't want to celebrate Black people getting into white spaces and places. I want to celebrate Black people being accepted by white folks. To me, that's not what Black excellence is. Can we create our own institutions? Can we prioritize our own independence? Or are we going to celebrate being dependent of different people, of different institutions, of different systems that we also are saying, take your foot off our neck? It's like, that's what white Black History Month shouldn't be about. You feel me? And I think that it's other people. Bayard Rustin is a gay Black man. Bayard Rustin had a big hand in a lot of the shit that we celebrate. Most Black people think that being gay or celebration of gay or being accepting of being gay is some white new shit. It's like, hey, Marsha P. Johnson, that was in the 60s, man. Bayard Rustin, that was in the 60s, man. We can keep on naming people. It's like, hey, man, just because you feel like white people have made this acceptable, don't make it seem like don't give more power to white supremacy than they got. White supremacy don't corner the market on sexuality agenda. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people think that being gay or being trans is a white supremacist invention. You know what I'm saying? And that means you don't know Black history.
Right.
Simplify that simple. Like, you don't know Black history. If you think that LGBTQ shit is some white shit, you don't know Black history.
Yes, exactly.
If you think that, you feel me, you know what I'm saying, women being able to own their sexuality and being able to express themselves how they want, when they want, and not have to give a damn about what a man think, you don't understand Black history.
Right.
You feel me? If you think that if you think every Black woman has to be Michelle Obama or Coretta Scott King, you don't understand Black history. You feel me? If you think every Black man has to talk with the diction of Martin Luther King or has to be able to make white people feel comfortable like Martin Luther King, or you think that in order to be resistant, it means you have to be a respectable Negro, you don't understand Black history.
You don't understand Black history.
You don't know it. Not even understand it because you know what I'm saying?
You don't,
right.
Exactly.
Right, you know what I'm saying? You don't even, like, and I think that's what we got to get into us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to take Carter G. Woodson and make it better.
Yeah.
Feel me? That's what white people figure out how to do in their white kinship. You don't always build on generations. I felt like once I figured out that I didn't have to reinvent the wheel, and I was trying to reinvent the wheel in many instances, I felt liberated because I knew more history. When I thought that I was just, I'm the first nigga trying to do this. Damn, I don't know what I'm up against. Nah, like you said, it's people that went through this already. I can learn from them. I can, you know what I'm saying? But that take.
Right. Yeah, this is consciously. I'm grateful for you taking this time together because I know those babies need you.
Yeah, I'm finna get to them. I'm finna get to them.
Yes. Well, I thank you and I thank them for giving us this time together. I will continue to follow you. I love what you're doing in social media.
Auntie.
Hey, Precious.
What you saying? Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? She can't hear me.
Yeah, he can't hear you.
He can't hear you. There you go. How you doing? How are you? What's your name? What is your name?
Say Zane.
Your name is Zane. That's a great name. Yeah, it is, huh?
Yeah.
So, you keep doing you because
Thank you.
talk about we need each other. We so need what you are bringing. But you keep breathing, brother, because you're doing a lot.
Yeah,
Keep that energy going.
I'm learning what the old folks taught me growing up, man. You don't want to be like, Lil George, you don't never want to have too many irons in the fire.
In the fire.
And I'm learning, you feel me? Like, I heard my whole life, but right now I'm learning, like, what that really mean. And, you know, I'm going to tighten up the ship, you know what I'm saying? I'm take some irons out the fire and cut up the heat on some other irons. And, you feel me? Right now I'm in the process of prioritizing and organizing. So,
good.
Shout out to you.
All right. Well, much respect to your wife. And love to your children and so much to you.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you for being here. We'll talk soon. I'll be following you. Okay, bye.